Just a quick one. I think I've discovered something that will not only save you money when buying timber and building materials in the UK, but could also save you a lot of time and hassle. Let me explain. And apologies in advance if this turns into a bit of a rant. There are three things that really annoy me about buying materials from builders and timber merchants. And the first is pricing. Unless you're a tradesman or you're working for a company that is regularly placing significant orders with the same supplier, it's unlikely that you're going to be offered the best prices. And that's because those people are likely to be getting discounts of 10, 15, 20%, sometimes even more when compared to a regular customer or DIYer. And if you're one of those people that are inclined to engage in small talk with the staff and dropping in boxes of biscuits at Christmas in an attempt to try and sweeten the deal, that's great. But for me, I just want a simple transaction. I want to get my stuff and I want to go. And I want to feel like I've not been ripped off. 2, service. I can only speak about the builders and timber merchants that I've had experience in shopping with, but they can be intimidating places to visit, especially if you've not been to that supplier before and you don't know what the process is for ordering or picking up items. It always feels a bit like you have to talk the talk and walk the walk, and I just hate all that nonsense. Meanwhile, in any other kind of shop where you are the paying customer, you are the one who's in control, and it just feels like a very different experience. 3, they're stuck in the past. Well, probably not all of them, but certainly the ones that I've dealt with. They have these archaic processes and bad websites. At my local timber merchant, you drive into the car park and there are loads of other vans and cars and people waiting, and you have to wait around for a forklift driver who's been busy driving around the yard, so they've got no idea who's been there the longest. So you wait for them to come to you, you tell them what you want, they drive around to the yard and they bring it back. And then they give you a ticket. You then have to queue up again at the office to pay for the order. It's slow, it's cumbersome, you have no idea how long it's going to take, and as we all know, time is money. I found a solution to all of these problems, and I should point out here that I'm not being paid to make this video, it isn't sponsored, and the company that I'm talking about doesn't even know that I'm making this video. So yeah, wouldn't it be nice if there was a company out there who acted as the middleman between you, the customer, and hundreds of timber and builders merchants across the UK, who could use the purchasing power of having a large customer base to secure the best possible prices on building materials? And wouldn't it be nice for the customer to be able to order those materials online on a nice modern website that actually works and get those materials delivered directly to wherever you want them delivered to? Well, guess what? There is, and I've got a price comparison with other timber and builders merchants that I think will prove it. You might remember that recently I built a pergola with a polycarbonate roof, and I mentioned in that video that all of the materials were provided by Materials Market. I also said in that video that I wasn't sponsored or affiliated with them, which at the time was true, but since making that video and having had a good experience with that order, I have now signed up as an affiliate, and there'll be a link in the description box below if you'd like to save some money on your next project. So let's take a look at a price comparison, and for this I've basically picked a random assortment of commonly ordered materials, and I'll be comparing the pricings with a national DIY store, I'm not going to name names, a timber merchant local to me, and a builder's merchant too. So these are the prices quoted to me by a local timber merchant. The total is £375.92. I don't have a trade account with them. I asked for one, but they wouldn't give me one. But for the purposes of comparison, let's pretend I did have a trade account and they gave me 10% off. That would be a total of £338.33. These are the prices I was quoted by a builder's merchant. The total is £359.32. I do have a trade account with this company, and the price that they quoted includes a 10% discount. So for regular customers, their price for these materials would be £395.25. And now for the national DIY store, and unfortunately none of the national DIY stores here in the UK sell MRMDF, which seems crazy to me, but anyway. Sheet materials in this DIY store tend to be on average about 11% more expensive than a builder's or timber merchant. So for the purpose of making this comparison more fair, let's pretend they do sell moisture resistant MDF. I'd estimate it would cost roughly this much for 5 sheets, bringing the total to a whopping £456.50. I have a trade account with this supplier which offers me 10% discount, so that would bring the total price down to £410.85. So now let's look at the materials market prices, and for a regular customer the price came to £347.52, and these are the savings compared to each of the competitors, totalling £28, £48 and £109. Pretty good, but if you are able to sign up for a trade account with Materials Market, the prices then get discounted by around 19% on average. And that's a saving of £57, £78 or £129 when compared with the competitors. And let's remember, this is all on a relatively small order. But what about delivery costs? I've put some information on screen. It depends on things like the type and volume of materials being ordered, your location, and how much you're spending. But I would say that the fees aren't dissimilar to when I've ordered materials direct from a supplier and asked for them to be delivered. I'm about to place a second order with them, but this time as a paying customer, because to me, it almost seems too good to be true. So what could the downsides of this be? Well, you're not dealing directly with the timber or builder's merchant, and maybe that could result in some problems with communications on deliveries, for example. But in my admittedly limited experience dealing with them, everything went smoothly, and if the reviews are anything to go by, it seems like the vast majority of customers are very happy with the service. And when you delve into the reviews, most of the negative ones do tend to be about delivery problems. And if you're a tradesman and you're on a schedule, that can obviously cause problems. But if you're a DIYer, maybe that's less important. I think if you are going to use Materials Market, it's important to note that it will be an e-commerce transaction rather than dealing direct with a supplier, as it seems like some of these reviewers who placed orders didn't understand that. So, could Materials Market be dragging the whole building materials supply industry kicking and screaming into the future? I certainly hope so, and it feels like it's been a long time coming. And hopefully it results in more innovation and improvements in the industry for the customer. I'm sharing this because I know that there'll be people out there who share all of the same frustrations as me. But let's be honest about it, I'm also sharing this because I am now an affiliate of Materials Market. So please do check out the link in the description. If you place an order, you won't pay a penny more, but I may earn a small commission on any qualifying purchases. And if you've used Materials Market, please let me know how you got on with them in the comments. I'm keen to hear more.